Mike Brennan, and we're doing another one of our MITech TV shows. We've been talking a lot lately about Industry 4.0. That's the fourth industrial revolution. Think of it as smart manufacturing, but it's a whole lot more than that. But that's a good way to kind of quickly sum it up. And Centrrepolis Accelerator has been heavily involved in that and on a number of levels. We bringing in Dan Radomski, who runs the Centrrepolis Accelerator. And let's talk a little bit about, again, I know what Industry 4.0 is, you do, but the audience, maybe not. When I was doing my interviews, I interviewed a GMPR guy who did not know what Industry 4.0 was. And I go, really? Okay. So that told me a lot right there. So go ahead, tell us a little bit of what
I
are
think it
the
always helps how that term came about. There's really been considered over century plus now, four major revolutions in technology that have brought about efficiency and automation to manufacturing. The first being uh, what's known as Industry 1.0, which is the mechanization of manufacturing and the use of steam power to help do that. And then Industry 2.0 was the development of automation and assembly lines, which we're known for here at Ford Motor Company, made famous. Then Industry 3.0 revolution is where we saw the advent of robotic systems to help with automation, as well as computer systems to bring out operational efficiencies. And 4.0 is really digital manufacturing, where we're able to digitize and replicate with digital twin information that can be made readily available to simulate the manufacturing environment and to optimize it. It's also taken into account revolutions in additive manufacturing and 3D printing, as well as industrial Internet of Things and artificial intelligence now that's being brought into making manufacturing operations where they're more efficient and improving throughput, reducing downtime, improving quality, and more importantly, getting margins, into the business and making it more profitable and making manufacturers more globally competitive.
So tell us a little bit. I know Centrrepolis Accelerator manages the Industry 4.0 Accelerator. Can you share what this accelerator is all about?
Yeah, when we launched the Centrrepolis Accelerator at Lawrence Tech about 8 years ago, we were the only hard tech accelerator for the state of Michigan, and that means we were working on physical products and advanced manufacturing technologies. And we noticed that quite a few of these interesting technologies that were coming to us were Industry 4.0 technologies, meaning they made manufacturing operations more efficient. And about 5 years ago, we decided to launch a specific effort known as the Industry 4.0 Accelerator, specifically to help attract companies globally that have these technologies to come to Michigan and partner with Michigan companies that have their solutions brought into Michigan manufacturing operations, Michigan manufacturing facilities to make them better. So that was partly to make our own manufacturing base of 13,000 manufacturers more efficient, but at the same time, identifying these companies where they actually are able to take on new customers in Michigan and move to Michigan. These are the companies, obviously, that have the I4O technologies and ultimately are high-tech companies that we're trying to attract to the state.
So I know one of the functions of your accelerator, along with a number of other places like Automation Alley and Rocket Labs, is to educate the industry on what we just talked about. I think a lot of, as you know, I've been doing research for about a year, and it's a lot of people just don't know what it is. I mentioned earlier on, even a GMPR guy, when I said Industry 4.0, didn't know what I was talking about, which surprised me. I didn't rat him out to Mark Royce, though, or anything like that.
You are too
He's
kind.
a friend of mine, by the way. I didn't, this guy doesn't know what Industry 4.0 is, but a lot of factories, and we have 12,000 manufacturers in Michigan, and a lot of them are the smaller twos and threes, which, they got the company from grandpa and that sort of thing. they're not very sophisticated, and it's not a knock on them. It just is. They don't really have an R&D department like the tier ones or the OEMs. And so your function, again, with some of the other players, is to educate these folks on what would work for them, because not obviously they can't afford to do all the things you talked about, but there might be one or two things they can do to really streamline operations and make them more
Yeah.
efficient. Let's talk a little bit about the educational component that you do.
Yeah, and it's a really key piece. So, and I want to really give the credit to the Michigan Economic Development Corporation for putting together a statewide initiative around Industry 4.0. And it has both statewide organization resources like Centrrepolis and our Industry 4.0 Accelerator, along with Michigan Manufacturing Technology Center, our MEP that helps companies, manufacturers become more efficient, and groups like Automation Alley and Manufacturing Growth Alliance that also support this iPro awareness and personal assistance type of offerings. And it also brings together regional manufacturing associations across the state. And the intent is, one, to your point, Mike, really educate, especially small to medium-sized manufacturers on what Industry 4.0 is. And more importantly, offer programs where, for instance, MMTC can come out and do a free assessment, kind of an Industry 4.0 assessment to understand how ready are these manufacturers to adopt I4O technologies, share more knowledge around what I4O is, and more importantly, map back to how these I4O technologies solve real problems in manufacturing facilities. And why a lot of small to medium-sized manufacturers, Mike, to your point, may not really be all that familiar with Industry 4.0, they're certainly very familiar with the problems they're having in their plants, and where they see opportunities for automation and to improve margins and operating conditions. So now there's a program that kind of provides wraparound services, not only assessment, but recommendations on what you can do, what type of iPro technology you can adopt. We play a role in that, as does others. And then there's even a grant program that will provide up to $25,000 for small to medium-sized manufacturers to adopt and implement these iPro technologies in their operations. So we're very lucky to have MEDC's program that provides that support. And we're hosting a show here alongside the Advanced Manufacturing Expo in Grand Rapids next week, August 7th and 8th, where we're playing a big role on the education front, as you mentioned, Mike, in partnership with many organizations. We will be hosting a 2-day event in Grand Rapids at the Devos Place, and we will have an expo hall full of great Industry 4.0 tech companies, 2 days of educational sessions around different I4O topics and technologies. We'll even have a pitch event for some of the most impressive I4O startup tech companies that we're working with, and an opportunity for small to medium-sized manufacturers and even large tier ones and OEMs to learn more about these great solutions and how to bring them into their manufacturing plants to bring about efficiencies.
All right. And so tell us a little bit more about that event. Once again, time, location, dates. And I also understand you've got an event coming up in Jackson as well.
Yeah, so we regularly host, quite a few events that provide this education and training and real opportunities to meet one-on-one with, I4O tech companies that have, unique solutions, right? Whether that's around automation, inspection technology, additive manufacturing, machine optimization. So we'll have sessions over the next, for these 2 days, August 7th and 8th in Grand Rapids at the Devos Center. Some will be actually managed and hosted by Centrrepolis and Lean Rocket Lab, who manage the Industry 4.0 Accelerator. Some will be led by the Michigan Manufacturing Tech Center, Automation Alley, and others. And I encourage you to come out. It's a free event to attend, and great opportunity to network with some of these great iPro tech companies. We have a specific hall within the expo that is all iPro companies.
All right. And so what else is going on with the accelerator these days? I know, what's some of the hot things you're working on or working with?
Well, we now have over 50 corporate partners. Again, these are all Michigan manufacturing firms, big and small, system integrators that we work closely with, and companies as big as Ford Motor Company, General Motors that are part of our corporate partner network, Whirlpool, others. And we meet with them regularly. They're manufacturing tech scouts, they're operational efficiency teams, they're some cases they're corporate venture arms. And they share with us specifically their problem statements of things they're trying to address on their manufacturing and their manufacturing plants. And then what we do is we match I4O tech companies that we've been globally scouting that have these solutions that they're looking for. So we're even hosting now internal I4O demo days with big companies. Like we had one with Ford Motor Company in May, Detroit Manufacturing Systems, a large tier one minority supplier, in the spring as well, and with General Motors back in February. And so in those cases, we're actually bringing the I4O tech companies right into their headquarters to meet with their engineering team, their plant managers, their operational teams. So we're doing a lot more of that. We're also working with global economic development groups and other I4O accelerators outside the country to try to pipeline in some of the best I4O tech companies into Michigan manufacturers. We just we were awarded a contract from JETRO, which is a Japanese economic development agency, and we're working with a number of high-profile Japanese tech companies that have I4O solutions and trying to introduce those companies to the right Michigan manufacturers. So we're doing a lot more of like very dedicated programming to help individual companies with I4O technologies that meet their needs.
You're also attracting new grant funding. In fact, tomorrow morning, I'm going to be sending out a release on a major grant that you've gotten from a local foundation. Can't name names just yet, but tomorrow, you've been very successful at that. Getting grant funding from government sources, NGOs, foundations, all sorts of things. I guess that's because people really see a future in this.
Yeah, I think manufacturing was a bit of an oversight there for a number of years, and I think a lot has changed in the last 5 years or so. When we went through COVID, we recognized we don't even make our own personal protection equipment anymore, and we had the semiconductor chip shortage, and now we have these real global conflicts that are national security concerns. So paying attention to the development of new physical products is becoming a priority at not only the state level, but at the national level. And as well as making our existing manufacturers more competitive, right, and sustainable, and in a position where they can support even the defense industry and national security concerns when we need them. So we've been very fortunate to be in that position. The movement towards artificial intelligence as you know, has been rather significant in everything we do, right? A lot of people use ChatGPT, but it is also having a big impact on manufacturing operations. You're seeing AI tools be used for optimizing, part inspection, poka-yoking or error-proofing manual assembly operations. We're seeing AI used for connected worker platforms, machine optimization, supply chain optimization, and it's in our national interest to make sure our domestic manufacturers adopt those tools and allow them to be more globally competitive and be able to secure better margins so that they are more sustainable over time. And our state recognizes this. The Michigan Economic Development Corporation definitely wants to see more artificial intelligence tools and solutions adopted with our manufacturers. At the federal level, there was just an announcement of an Artificial Intelligence Manufacturing Institute that they're launching, and I'm sure the state will want to, encourage manufacturers to rally behind the state's interest to be involved in that.
Well, we're coming to the end of the segment here, the 15 minutes. So if people want more information about Centrrepolis Accelerator programs, Industry 4.0 programs, where should they go online?
So we have a website, Centrrepolis.com. That's CENTREPOLIS, accelerator.com. We also have an Industry 4.0 accelerator.com website specifically on that program. And we also, I mentioned the Advanced Manufacturing Expo in Grand Rapids next week. That is advancedmanufacturingexpo.com. And in that, on that website are details on the Industry 4.0 Tech Hall and conference sessions that we're leading.